In this episode of the Encourage Inspire podcast, I'm joined by Brandon Wigley. He's a trailblazer in sports marketing and entrepreneurship. As a sports marketing agent, Brandon dives into the unique differences between sports marketing and traditional agency roles and how he passionately advocates for athletes both on and off the court. In this episode, he shares the story behind Florida Hoop Legends, his brand that emerged from genuine connections within the basketball community. Brandon emphasizes the power of storytelling in sports marketing and the importance of building authentic relationships in a fast-paced industry. Join us for this insightful conversation that explores the intersection of sports, branding, and entrepreneurship. Brandon's journey is a reminder that success comes from perseverance and staying true to oneself. Don't miss this inspiring episode filled with valuable lessons for anyone aspiring to thrive in the world of sports. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Encourage Inspire podcast. This is episode number 95. It's Durell Peart, your host. And I got a very special guest with me, my man Brandon Wigley. Man, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm blessed, bro. That's dope. You on episode 95.
Yeah,
That's I got to salute you for that, bro. That's consistency. So that's
yeah,
love.
man. Cool. Yeah, man. My podcast is hosted by the Guy What You Need Podcast Network, based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And
Got
I've been doing this for a while with my big bro LaShawn T.S. He actually the one that got me into the music business. And,
got you.
and now he's in the podcast world. And he told me one day, man, I want you to do a podcast. I said, why not? And I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and normally we talk about disability awareness because I have a disability. We talk about the music business, and we talk about when I interview people who I like to just think has a great story. And man, when I came across you, I'm like, man, Andy's a local guy. We have some connections. I had to bring you on, man. So
No, sure, bro. I appreciate you. Yes,
cool,
sir.
cool, man. So, um, you're an entrepreneur. Now, would you consider yourself an agent? What do you consider yourself?
Oh man, great question. Yeah, I am an agent. I'm a sports marketing agent to be
Yep,
super specific. It's a difference between a sports agent and a sports marketing agent.
for
So the
sure.
sports agent usually handles the contractual work with the teams.
Yeah,
Um, and the sports marketing agent, we do all the stuff off the court.
I
So
love
the
it.
brand deals, the charity stuff, the branding of the athlete. And then we do work closely with the teams for college now. But yeah, so it's a difference. But yeah, definitely a sports agent. I do it all, man. I call myself a Renaissance man for real.
Hey, man, I love it, man. I love it, man. And so what got you? So obviously, I know you have a deep love for basketball, but
Yeah.
kind of what got you kind of said this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? As far as like being in this space, because
Man,
not a lot of people actually want to be in that space usually.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. No, I would say it's a long, not even a long story. I tell this story often though. I was at a point in my life where I already had Six Rings Firm, but it was more of an influencer marketing agency.
Okay.
So I was helping kind of like business gurus, like mainly in real estate, credit, whatever, brand themselves, help them create courses, stuff like
Mm,
that. But at this time, I was making good money, but I wasn't happy, and I
gotcha.
was sitting on the couch. One day I'll never forget it. I had got me a nice little check, but I was like, man, God, this showed me what my passion and my purpose is. Like,
Right.
I need it because I was making bread, but I wasn't like super happy, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Nah, that makes sense.
And one night, that night actually, I woke up in the middle of the night. I opened my phone and I was scrolling on IG and I seen a black guy. His name was Edward, I think.
Uh
Shout
huh.
out if I messed the name up, Edward, my bad.
Uh huh.
And he was talking about being a sports agent. It was kind of like that, Cat Williams skit when he say you wake up and you see the DeVry commercial. Be like, yes, I do. You know what I'm
Right, right, right,
saying?
right, right. Yeah.
So, and that sparked it. And this is why I always teach, not even teach, but talk about the power of relationships.
Oh man.
I went to college with a guy that he was Kent Bazemore agent, and Kent
Okay.
Bazemore was playing with Golden State at this time. And he helped facilitate getting Steph Curry from Nike to Under Armour. So that was huge, and he made a lot of money from it. So I called him one day. I was like, "Hey, bro, I'll pay you to teach me how to be an agent." And he was like, "Bro, you don't got to pay me nothing. I already see how you moving, how you rocking. Let's just partner." And shoot, that was 4 or 5 years ago, and here we are now.
Wonderful. Oh man,
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. I think you gotta find your passion, man. I mean, even when it comes to me being in the music business, and serving independent artists, right? Because there's 9 million independent artists across the world that are professional artists. And so we only see the 1%, bro. We only see people only look at success as like if you don't get into the 1% of anything in life, I mean that's crazy to think because that's the elite of the elite. And very few people get to that.
No facts.
You know what I'm saying? Very few people get to be elite in something.
Yep.
And if that's the only way you view, it's like if the only way you view say I gotta win a Grammy. Well, what happens if you don't? That mean
Yep.
does that mean you haven't been successful? And I
Facts.
and I think it's crazy to think that you know we put it in basketball terms. Everybody can make it to the NBA. It's
No.
just not possible. It's just
Yeah.
not possible, you know. But you
Yep.
could go to the Euro League
Yep.
and
Yep. Yep.
make a nice living, right? So for me, right, I said I want to serve the 99%, and I want to be the guy that focuses on being global
Mm.
versus being famous. So that's
Yep.
my niche, right? I said if I can help people become global, because everybody else is trying to tell you how to be famous.
Yeah.
I don't really. I care about how to help you become global,
Got you.
and that's my thing. So I can understand where you're coming from.
What do you do in the music industry?
So I'm a consultant more than anything, but I mostly teach, share knowledge, artist management. But really,
Got
I'm not actively managing right now. Do a lot more consulting. Just dropped into tour management now, tour facilitation. So a lot of different things. That's why I use the word consultant so I can doesn't box me in.
got
Right.
you.
So I do a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? But working with indie artists, bro, like it's tough because most of them are broke. They don't got no money.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why a lot of people they start out wanting to be managers, and they quickly realize that artist managers in today's space, it's not you can't do it for the money
No, facts.
because there's just not enough money in it to work
Yeah.
off of a traditional commission structure. I think that artist managers should be paid a salary
No, I agree.
because and then if you have commissions, then maybe you lower the commissions down from your traditional 15 to 20%. And I don't know if there's similarities to that in your world where you most work off of a commission structure, but I think
Yeah,
that
yeah. We work off commission too. We
yeah,
did 20%.
yeah, that's
But
why
it's a little
that's
different because an athlete it's almost more guaranteed a paycheck
yes,
than
the
a
music, yeah, entertainment, yes, yes, yes. So that's a little bit different, right? So a commission structure is probably much more lucrative in that world because once the contract, the money coming. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So yeah,
But it's still, similarities to where like if you don't have an athlete that's marketable
yes,
to get those brands. On my side, like I say, on sports marketing side,
oh for
you
sure,
get paid from the brands. You know what
no
I
for
mean?
sure, for
And
sure.
you do get the collective deals through the schools, but you get paid from the brands and stuff like
And,
that.
and speaking of that, man, like talk to me about how like it's changed with this NIL era now versus what it used to be. You feel like you think it's a great thing? You think it's a bad thing? Because again, most guys are gonna go pro, so out of college. So like a lot of times, this is the biggest money they'll probably make outside in their athletic career before they go. Am I right on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, yeah, man. I think it's just like with a lot of things, man, it's good and bad to it, right?
Okay.
Or not even bad, it's just pros and cons. So the great thing is for the longest, athletes didn't have any power to utilize their name, image, and likeness, right? So these schools were um, pretty much controlling them, and they were making these are billion-dollar corporations at the end of the day, these campuses and these schools, and they're able to generate all this income through jersey sales, ticket sales,
Mhm.
everything, right? So, and these athletes are considered student athletes, right? But
Yeah.
if you look deeper into it, man, they barely students for real.
Right.
They're
Right. Right.
more athletes. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
being able to be paid for their name, image, and likeness, being able to be paid through collectives,
Yeah.
it's definitely good. But of course, you putting two, 300,000, $1 million up into an 18 or 19-year-old hand, that can get muddy, that could get tricky.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
that's why
Definitely.
having a great team around is important.
For sure.
Also, it's still new. It's only 3 years old, so it's
Right.
the wild, wild west, some would say. So it's a lot of
Yeah.
rules changing, and people's kids are going to one school, transferring to another school, getting another bag. So it's still new, just like with anything. You got to kind of iron out the wrinkles. Um,
You definitely do. You definitely do.
and but you always want to see as entrepreneurs or being a capitalistic society, you always want to see people get paid for their work. You know what I'm saying, and what they do. So
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely, man. Yo, let's transition a little bit into man what you doing with Florida Hoop Legends, man. Like that's because that's what caught my eye. That's how I
yeah, yeah,
discovered you, and I
yeah,
realized obviously, you went to school with D. Wash. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And you know what's interesting? You don't even know this, bro. So obviously, Edgewater High School,
yeah,
J Mac, Jeremy
yeah. I
McClendon
got
was my artist when I
for
first
real.
started in the music business.
Yeah,
So he was my artist. We had him and my man Davon. We call him DG. I don't know if you know
they
him.
sound familiar. I think I
Yeah,
heard him through
yeah,
J.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
On the east side too.
Yeah. So these guys was my artists
Yeah,
in 2005.
that's a
Right.
long
So that's
time.
how long I've been doing this.
Yeah,
J Mac was my artist. I mean, we don't talk much these days, but the dude was super talented.
yeah, he was.
Super,
He
super talented, as a rapper. And we were
was.
so young, but we were so young back then, man. We
Yeah,
didn't really know what we know now. And I'm still doing this. Is my passion. I'm still doing it. But it's interesting, man. That you went to school with D. Wash, man. So I graduated from Colonial '03,
okay.
right? So if you remember the Colonial days, you had Cliff Horton,
Mm-hmm.
um, Earl Hines.
Yeah, I remember him through J Mac. I know these guys through Mac
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the.
yeah. Who else we got back then that play that you might know during that time? But that was an era of high school. You had the Faber twins. You had so many cats.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That came through. And obviously, I remember D. Watch. I remember like, yo, this dude is the truth. You
yeah.
know what
D
I'm saying?
Washington, one of the best to ever come through the city, man.
Def,
Top three for sure.
definitely.
You know
And
what I
I
mean?
and I want to say I was there for the 40 because so here's my backstory in Cologne in sports, right? So me having a disability, I was a team manager for the baseball team and the basketball team. So I'm a 4-year varsity letterman on the baseball
Gotcha.
team and the basketball team.
Yeah,
So and we were not very good. The basketball team we were not very good because we had Coach Joe Frana who coached for a while, and then he left in my senior year. But man, and if you were 6'4", you were playing center. You
yeah,
know, you were
yeah.
play you were we didn't have. I mean, I remember those days because you had Brandon Siler at Evans High School,
Yeah,
Jay Rich, Jason.
yeah.
I remember we were playing Dr. Phillips. This is when I went back to coach after I graduated for a year, and that was he had like he killed us. He had like it was like 21-7 in the first quarter. I can remember back then, but man, those are good days. Those are
Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah. That was a good
and
era of Orlando basketball for
and
sure.
and the Amari Stoudemire story was the rumor was always like, yo, he's gonna come to every school. He's gonna come to Cologne. Everybody thought he was gonna come to their school. So I remember that it was 2002. So this is before the new arenas were made, the new gyms were made. So Colonial had the bunker, the
Yeah, I
old
remember
gym,
that.
the
The
old
old
gym,
school.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so so Amari's coming with the whole school knows he's about to go to the league. The gym is packed. I'm like, yo, and he doesn't start. I'm like, so he comes to street clothes like, yo, this guy think he's Hollywood already. Turns out,
Yeah.
I guess he had gotten in trouble. He missed a period at school or something like that. And the whole, and he didn't. And do I tell you, he had
Look,
like
this was when he was at Cypress
at
Creek, or
Cypress, at Cypress.
okay,
This was
yeah,
2000. This was 2002.
yep, yep,
2000, my junior year, because I graduated in '03. So this was
yeah.
like 2002. And I'm like, dude, because the whole school was showing up. The whole school, the gym was packed. 2,000 people in there, and he didn't end up playing that day.
Oh man,
Yeah, man. But I mean, he was the truth, man. He was the truth. But yeah, going back to D. Wash, man, definitely one of the best to ever come out the city. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? For sure. For sure. Obviously, I mean, even the Edgewater, like you guys said, Marquise Daniels, Jerome Ball, a lot of cats.
yeah,
That,
yeah, yeah,
that,
man. We got Anthony Simons in the lead right
yes,
now.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got Kendrick Perry. He just won Euro MVP over there. So Patrick Sullivan. We got Quentin. What was Quentin last name? What is Quentin last? Quentin Thornton. He played at LSU
Okay.
bit before Ben Simmons. So yeah, we've been pushing them out for some time. And
Yeah,
now we
man.
got Darius.
Yes. And coming full circle, man. So tell me why you wanted to start like the Hoop Legends and the podcast, and and why that was. I know it's a passion project for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So
Florida's a basketball state, as you
as
see.
yep,
You got
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
to on
It
brand.
is a basketball. No, it is a basketball
Yeah,
state.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Started it. I started it just organically, man. It was a time when Sebastian Telfair
Yep.
was doing a lot of interviews, a lot of press runs, and he
hmm
was, he was getting his flowers, and a lot of people.
And by the way, I remember watching that game in
Yeah, yeah, big,
2004 on TV.
big, yeah, yeah,
Because these
yeah,
kids don't remember. Like we remember watching LeBron in a high school, like
yeah,
watching LeBron as an 18-year-old
yeah.
in high school. Anyway, I just want to bring that up. But go ahead.
No, no, for sure. No, do your thing. So yeah, he was doing his press run, doing a lot of interviews, and I was thinking like, man, how everybody asking Sebastian who his rivals are and all of these things and giving him light. I say, man, I got to show D Wash some light because you at this time you can't really speak about Sebastian and not bring up D Wash. They
Right.
it was a there was a tandem, you know what I mean? That was a big rivalry, kind of like
Right.
Bird and Magic or LeBron and Melo type
Right.
situation. So I did a video. My first ever video was on D Wash on
Okay.
Florida Hoop, and then he hit me or something. I called him, and D Wash actually gave me the idea. He was like, you know what, bro, you should do all Hoop Legends. Because at first I was gonna just do Edgewater.
Okay.
You go back and look, my first 5 or 6 was just Edgewater players. So I did
Okay.
DY and I did Marquise Daniels, and I just,
Right.
did all Edgewater player.
Right.
But Watch gave me the idea, man, and then I just continued to start doing them, start growing, and it just caught. You know what I mean? And that's just another lesson in life is when a lot of times we try to manufacture things and because it's an idea in our mind and we just go out and do it. And sometimes it don't work, sometimes it do. But man, the greatest things I see happen sometimes is when it's organic. You know what I
Ab-
mean?
ab-
When you
ab-
just feel it in your soul.
Absolutely. And here's another question, man. Like obviously, D. Wash didn't really get a lot of burn in the league. Why do you think that is? I always want to ask. Why do you think he didn't really get real play in the NBA?
Well, he says it on Florida Hoop Legend podcast. Like he talks about that just at this time he didn't know his role in the league in the NBA or in the league. Everybody can score, right? He's
Right.
always a scorer. He was always the man with the ball in his hands from elementary, middle, high, college.
Right.
So when he goes to the San Antonio Spurs, they don't need you to score. They got Tony Parker already. They got
Right.
Tim, you know what I mean? So
Right.
as he would say in his own words, is shoot, I didn't know how to effectively play point guard position
Right.
at the time.
And I
So
felt like that's what it was. Honestly, I
yeah,
felt.
just the wrong team,
Yeah.
different era. If he play in this era now
He
where it's more
he beat
scoring
it. Yeah. He
guards,
beat
yeah.
it. Yeah.
But
For
he had a
sure.
great career overseas, man.
Oh my gosh! Excellent.
You know, yep.
Excellent. It goes back to what I was saying before. You know what I'm saying? The world is huge, right? And you may not make 70 million a year over
Yep.
there. You know what I'm saying? But you could make a very nice, lucrative living doing
Yeah,
what
it
you
changed the
doing what
trajectory of
do,
your family.
doing what you love to do. You know what I'm saying? So I think people got to understand. You look at a guy like Mike James, right? Like
Yep.
James said, he don't want to go back. He's like, look, I'm fine over here. Like
Yep.
I'm not gonna try to go through that the race of trying to get back to the league and
Facts.
all. Yeah, he's like, look, I'm fine being the man over here in the Euro League.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I think when you find a space that like really you can make your own, man, why go? I mean, because you still do what you love to do, and ultimately that's what's the most
It's
important
about
thing.
what it's all about for
Doing
sure.
what you love to do, man. Do what you love to do.
A blessing.
For sure, man. For sure. So, what do you think some of the common challenges that athletes face when trying to navigate their personal brand, and kind of how do you help them kind of overcome those obstacles?
Man, really it's just create, don't wait. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I learned that from one of my OGs, Eugene Wilson. No, is his last name Eugene? Eugene something. I don't even know his last name no more.
Okay. Okay.
But he told me that like 10 years ago, create, don't wait. So a lot of athletes, of course, they're focused on the game, right? You want to keep the main thing the main thing. But now we live in a world where you have to create content if you want to get deals. So a lot of them just get in their own way and then on their own mind. And it's like, oh, I don't know how to create it. What shall I do? Just kind of analysis paralysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we come in and we help them, pull out that creativity. So with all our clients, we sit down and we do pretty much an interview process. Like, what's your
Right.
hobby? What you like on the court? What you like off the court? What's your family life like? You know what I mean? So now we can really craft the brand overview and see exactly who they are, what they are and what they want to put out to the world. And now we can really start articulating that through their social media platforms.
I love that. I love that because that's the era that we're in now. You know, guys coming to the league are going to with brands and see a lot of the
Yeah,
old cats used to hate, but it's just the era we're in. Like it's like
yeah,
social media, Gen Z. It's the era that we're in. These guys have social media. These
yep,
guys are creating opportunities for them. Because let's be real, if you make it to the make it to the NBA, average career is 3 years, and
no,
you gone. So
facts.
if you're lucky to get drafted at these days at like let's say you're lucky, let's say you're 19, you're lucky to get drafted, young, you might be out the league by 22.
No, that's a fact.
You know what I'm
Yep,
saying? And so what do you do? What do you do at 20? You've lived you quote unquote made it to your dream, and your
yep.
dream is over, so to say, because how many guys get out and actually get back in and actually end up having a long career? Very few guys do.
Very few, my brother. Yeah, yeah,
So you got to find a way to, and even if you do, right, even let's say you play 7 8 years, you got to make that money last for a lifetime.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think people also realize what it means to. Not everybody's going to be a household name, so you might be jumping around from team to team to team to team to team. You live in. That takes a lot on somebody. I'm sure. Of how to of having to live. It doesn't. It's not as glamorous as people make it out to be. Is what I'm trying to say.
No, I agree.
Being a pro athlete is not. It's kind of like going on tour, right? Everybody thinks when you going on tour, you living an international tour, you living a nice, living a lavish life. No,
Mm,
you not. Like, especially in my world, especially as an independent artist, like if it's a self-funded tour, which most time it is, what stuff I'm doing, I mean, you're not living glamorously. You living in very modest, going to staying in very modest hotels. Trying to figure out how to, what they say, steal from Paul to pay Peter, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
You just try to,
Rob, you to
yeah,
pay
Rob
Paul.
Paul, yeah, exactly. You just try to figure it out. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And a
yeah.
lot of times, I feel like that's where the similarities kind of lie. Like some of these guys are just trying to figure it out, and they're lucky if they're lucky if they have a 10-year career. You play 10 years, that's a great career. You
That's
know
a
what I'm
blessing.
saying?
Mm.
That's a great career, man. So, and you kind of talked about content creation. So, how do you believe storytelling plays a role in connecting brands with their audience? Like, and I guess you could take that into athletes if you want to kind of use that correlation. But
Yeah, no, it's everything. I was blessed to work at Disney out of high school, right? Got an internship there.
oh
And
yeah, Walt Disney was an ultimate storyteller, ultimate visionary.
you feel me?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
company in general, that's probably the greatest storytelling company in the world. Them and Nike, I would say.
yeah.
And people always remember stories. That's why people love Biggie. That's why people love
Yes,
Pop.
Yes,
Changing their
yes,
lives because people can recite stories. You taking people on a journey. So for me, that's what marketing is all about. Think about, let's use Nike and they use the Tiger Woods commercials. You see him as a kid swinging it at 2 years old, then you see him as a teenager, then you see him as an adult, then you see him as a grown man with his son. And they tell these stories through these commercials. So it evicts, it pulls out emotions in people. So I
yeah.
think storytelling marketing is everything. Whatever you do, being able to tell a story is always going to be key.
Absolutely. You know, I always tell a story because story evokes emotion. I tell people all the time. If you're an artist, again, so many similarities, right? That's why I wanted to have you on because I tell artists all the time, you're in the business of selling emotion.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, and the only job of music is to create emotion. And I think when you say telling stories, like, you know, if it can evoke an emotion, sometimes I watch this, I'm like, I don't intend to tear up, and it just, well, I just tear up because I'm like, man, this is, and it does, I don't mean to, it just
yeah,
happens because of what I'm listening to. And I think that's the human emotion right there.
yeah,
And
yeah.
when you can tug on those heartstrings, right, of people, that's
Mm,
what we kind of really, because the human connection, you know, culture is what separates us all as humans, right? So,
yeah,
you know, culture is the one thing that makes us different, right? Because my parents are from Jamaica, right? So they're not necessarily African American, they're Caribbean. So you can't box everybody. So I was going to tell everybody that wherever you're from, it's the culture that separates us.
yeah.
So, but when it comes to the human nature and the human and just being human is when you could, everybody has heart, everybody has emotions, and if you could find a way to tug on those, I mean that's what connects people, that's what makes people want to support.
Now, facts.
You know
Hey,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah, man. I agree. 1,000%, bro.
for sure, man. Um, so what do you think as a sports marketer? What do you think anybody who wants to kind of get into that world and believe it or no, that no, this Full Sail, yeah, full. I graduated from Full Sail University, and I do believe we have a sports marketing track now.
Oh, okay, that's dope.
I want to say, and it's a relatively new program, probably like 7 years. Because
Hmm.
Full Sail, we're an audio tech media arts technology school, but we definitely have a sports marketing track. So there's definitely kids that have graduated that program and things like that. But what do you think that are some essential skills that you think a sports marketer should develop to be effective in that space?
Yeah, man. I always tell people that's why they call me the dot connector, right? It's
Uh-huh.
just being able to have people skills. It's a
Yeah.
people business, and you're in a service-based business. So being able to connect with people, being able to negotiate, being able to sell, be able to
Yes.
market yourself, those things, those core. Just like being any type of entrepreneur,
Right.
those are core things. Being able to bring value to any situation you're in. And you do that by, whatever your zone of genius is, honing in on that. For me, it's always just been people, bro. I've always been since elementary school, I've always been a people person. People always gravitated towards me. I've always been able to be kind to people, show love, you know what I'm saying, give value, be an asshole when needed.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. But, I've always been able to get those connections. Even starting Florida Hoop Legends, I got the OGs in Florida tapped in with me. Udonis Haslam,
Yeah.
Teddy Dupay, and
Yep. I
um,
love
who-
Teddy Dupay.
he-
People forget about Teddy Dupay.
forget about Teddy Dupay, and that's
Because
my
he right, yeah, people forget about like he was good. You know, he actually never made it to the NBA. Or did
yeah.
he? Or did he? Did he ever get some burn?
I don't think he did. I don't think he
Yeah,
did.
but he was.
Um,
But yeah, he was that dude
he
definitely.
wanted them one. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
just if you want to get in the sports market, and I'm gonna drop a course soon.
Okay.
People can jump into it and just kind of learn how to get in the sports space. And then it's who you know, bro.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I got into it from calling somebody that I knew was already in it. But that's
Right.
relationships. My
Yeah.
car has always been good. I've always been, thorough and withstanding, in my morals and standing on what I believe in. So if I make a call, it's gonna happen for the most part.
No man, that's man. Look, relationships, and like you said, keeping your face clean. Look, everybody ain't gonna be your. And you're not gonna be best friends with everybody, but
Yeah,
you gotta be somebody that people can trust. People know that when they call you, you know, it's just a level of respect. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Because what happens is, right, people cross reference and they'll be like, yo, like hey, I don't fuck with him, but you can. Like, no,
Yeah.
like people, like you know what I'm saying? Like people will tell you, like, I don't know about that. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, because like anything, it's a small space, bro. People when you get inside the space, everybody kind of knows everybody. When you
Yeah.
get in certain spaces, so you like, and you ask, yo, should I mess with him? Like, he does such hit me up. Should I? And they'll tell you straight up, like, nah, that's buddy bad news, or they'll say, hey, no, oh, they great. You'll definitely connect to them. So, yeah, keeping your face clean is so important in a people business.
Yep.
In a
Yep.
people, because at the end of the day, I tell you this all the time. You can't accomplish everything just off your own merit. You need relationships.
Yep. You
You need
gotta have them. I
you
don't
gotta
do nothing. I don't do anything alone, bro.
you can't.
You know
You
what I anytime I start, even with Florida Hoop Legends, I started it myself, but now I got a team of three.
right,
Being six rings. I thought of it, but now I got a team of four.
right.
So anything I do, I'm gonna pull people in because I know what I do well, and I'm always just sit in that. I don't try to
For
do
sure.
too
Yeah. Man,
much.
you gotta know, bro, you cannot do everything. You gotta know what you do well. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's like I had an artist who I was working with who I no longer work with. And I think he wanted to I think in his mind, he thought he was supposed to be this multi-talented person. And he was a nice talent, but I knew what I was dealing with. And all of a sudden you telling me now you want to go dance? You realize like dance is a craft. Like
Hmm.
and you ain't putting no work.
Yeah.
Like what
Yeah.
you like people spend their whole lives, within this craft and even want to become good enough to be on the stage. Like you got as you say, you gotta put your 10,000 hours in.
Now
And
facts.
I would not be a good manager if I wasn't going to try to save you from yourself in that particular case. And
Yeah.
anybody you work with, they should know the only time somebody should be upset at me if I knowingly if I knowingly put them in a bad situation to to fail. That's when you
Yeah.
should be upset
Yeah.
because because I do have a responsibility to look after you if we're gonna have a type of relationship. But ultimately, man, look, you can't. People gonna do what they want to do, but you got to know yourself. You got to know what you're good at, know what you're not good at.
Yeah. Yeah. Know thyself, man. That's
You
something that
you
I
have
always
to
think about.
because then when you get embarrassed, who you gonna blame?
Facts.
You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? Because it's like practice. It's wait when you get on the stage, like I told you, when you get on, there's nothing I could do at that point. Like the work is done prior to that, but all I can do is sit back and watch.
Sit back and watch.
You
Nah,
know
that's
what I'm saying?
yeah.
All you can do, Brandon, is sit back and watch, man. You do all the work, but once they get what hey, you done your job, and
Yeah.
and sometimes you gonna win, sometimes you gonna lose, bro.
Facts.
But it's about limit. It's about it's about limiting the losses, But expect that they're gonna come from time to time, and how do you leverage that into a win later?
Mm.
I think is what people. I think that's the real win right there. And sometimes you got to be strategic in taking a loss. You got to
Mm.
know, okay, you got to know going into it, I'm gonna lose here, but it's for the greater good.
No, that's real.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I like that.
man, so
Mm.
bro, before we get out of here, man, how can the people find you? How can they connect with you? Man, it's been a great conversation, man.
No, I appreciate you for having me on, bro. Like anytime people ask me to get on podcasts, I'm gonna do it, bro. I don't never try to act Hollywood or like you know what I'm saying? I don't care who the person is, I'm gonna
Right.
get on them. Um,
I'm the same.
even selfishly.
I'm the same way because you promote yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say that even
Yeah.
selfishly, just for me, just to get reps up, just to
Yeah.
articulate myself better and
Exactly.
all of that. And then you never know who's gonna tap in. But for me, man, I'm the same on every platform. Brandon J. Wigley, Brandon, the letter J Wigley, Wigley. That's my personal brand. Um, my company, one of the companies is at Six Rings with an S firm, like Michael Jordan, Six Rings firm.
Okay.
And then we got at Florida Hoop Legends with an S. Florida Hoop Legends. It's the merch right now. Tap in, get the merch.
Yes, sir.
Um, FloridaHoopLegends.com. Florida football, you cross it out. Basketball state. It's just a conversation piece. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, I love it. I love it, man. Because
Yeah, when I'm in the airport, wherever I am, people are like, oh, you think so? And you know what I mean? So it's
and
always a
and then you never know where that conversation leads to. So sometimes,
oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
You know, there, and then before we go, there's a quick concept somebody told me a long time ago called the three hellos, and I
Mm,
think this matters in any situation you're in, right? So the first, let's say you're at an event, somebody sees you, hey, how you doing, right? And that might just be whatever. Second time you see him, maybe an hour or two goes by, man. Hey, how you doing, man? I just saw you. The third time, man, what is it that you do? And
yeah,
then, you know what I'm saying? At that third time, they're
yeah,
gonna really want to know what you have going on. So
yeah,
those kind of, and the first time a conversation starts, right? Like I said, it might just be that hat, might just
yeah,
be a way to have and then you never know what that leads to later on. So I love that you have that, man, because it definitely is a conversation starter.
yeah. I appreciate that, brother.
For sure,
Yeah.
man. Well, guys, man, this has been another episode of the Encourage Inspire podcast. Until next time, this is your host, Durell Peart. I'm out of here. Peace.